Okay. Good afternoon, Anna. Thank you so much for joining me today. Really excited to have you here.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. I was so excited you agreed to do this. I've been really looking forward to hearing how things are going for you at Kelley. So, why don't you start by just getting me up to speed, but also maybe telling those who are watching a little bit about your background and some of the work that you did leading into business school.
Sure. So prior to business school, I kind of have a diverse background. I came from a bachelor's in accounting, moving on to fashion industry, working at Tommy Hilfiger. Then I did some brand strategy advertising and ended off circling back to tax accounting. Um, but I sort of realized, the common thread among uh, the positions that I had was that I really enjoyed the strategy behind the work I was doing and really helping others within my team and other teams grow and become better. So I decided to come to Kelley because of the collaborative environment, and I felt like it was a place where I can develop and grow better as professionally and personally.
Nice. That's a good intro. So how big of a concern was it for you that you had kind of a diverse environment, you had circled into all these different areas? Like, was that a worrisome thing for you? Did you think that might be something that would keep you out of business school?
Oh, huge, humongous. I was convinced I was not getting into business school.
Despite my advice otherwise, I should add.
By your advice, yeah. I was like, I'm not getting in anywhere. But I soon discovered that having a diverse background is actually beneficial because you have such a breadth of experience in different industries, and you can bring different perspectives to the table. So I actually realized it's quite a good thing once you come into school, and especially if you want to go into consulting.
Yeah, no, I agree. I remember that being a really fun task for us, trying to weave together experiences. And I remember you having that skepticism that this was going to sink your application. I was so happy when you get in. Any other concerns that you had going into the process? Like any other parts of your candidacy that you thought like might keep you out of business?
Yeah, my GRE score wasn't the best GRE score. So having a few things piled on top of each other, like the diverse background, the GRE score, I was coming on to 3 years of work experience post my bachelor's. So those were three of my biggest concerns. 3 years, I'd say, is okay to have prior to business school. I would say that minimally, if you want to do consulting, you should have 3 years.
Yeah.
I would say my GRE score was my biggest concern. And I remember coming to you and be like, I'm never getting into anywhere. And again, you calmed me down and were like, you're going to get in somewhere. Don't worry. It's okay.
Right.
But yeah, that was a major concern for me. Studying for that was quite difficult, especially because I'm not a very good standardized test taker, as opposed to like just in regular school test. That was quite difficult.
Right. So how did you address the low GRE score in the application? How did you offset that concern for the admissions committee?
Yeah, so I do have like a quant background in terms of my undergrad degree. I did do accounting and I did a minor in business. And then I did the tax accounting for 9 months prior to business school. So just explaining my experiences I've had using, analytics and using just quantitative data to kind of prove that I do have the knowledge to get through the rigorous curriculum that an MBA program has was key. And I'm super happy that you helped me frame it in a way that that came off that I can handle the curriculum more so than I would have trouble going through it, because that was a huge concern for me, not getting my point across that I can I can do it. I've done it before. I'll do it again.
That's right. And you did have a lot of great experience to lean on, I remember. So I thought that your essay was super compelling. So I wasn't surprised when it worked.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was your help, though.
So looking back on the application process in general, were there any parts of it that for you were particularly surprising or that you wish you had known going into the process that you think future candidates might benefit from?
Yeah, I wish I had known that, I wish I had known just how stressful the application process was so that I would have started a year in advance and been able to kind of take my time doing everything as opposed to rushing to get to round 2 applications. I felt like you knew I was like rushing to retake my GRE, to do all the essays, to get my recommendations. And I think that was unnecessary added stress. So if I would stress anything about these applications is if you know you want to go to business school and you really can't wait, then fine, go for that year. But I would say take the year and really put your best foot forward because you don't want to be stressing out and like not sleeping, not doing, like I had no social life for 7 months. It was really bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you alive? Are you okay? So
I remember you had a super serious job at the same time, and it's just hard to balance all that.
yeah, exactly. Working full time did not help. So
Yeah. Good. I think that's really valuable. What else did you do to try to differentiate yourself in the application process? We talked about turning your diverse experiences, but anything else you can remember about ways that you were trying to differentiate yourself to the application or to the admissions committee?
in terms of like my application, I knew that one of my strong suits is kind of building relationships. And so I took the time to go visit the schools for certain conferences. I took the time to speak to students at the schools, not only for the benefit of them knowing me, but also me knowing them, right? It has to do with fit. Like, do I really want to go to this school? Am I going to be happy here for the next 2 years? Am I going to grow? That was one of the biggest things that I would say helped me throughout this admissions process. Because once they saw my name, at least they knew they could put a face to it.
Right.
I would say something else I did to differentiate myself would be I have a foundation with my family, and I highlighted that because one of my biggest things about tell me about yourself is, right, I love to help people. And that hasn't changed. My tell me about yourself has not changed, by the way. So that's one of the biggest things I would say, like give them a reason to remember you, right? What is something you've done in your personal or professional career that's going to make you stand out? Like anything you could think of that would make yourself different from 10 other Annas or 10 other Ryans. Like, figure it out and highlight that and really, really capitalize on it because it'll make a difference.
I think that's really good advice. And I know a lot of candidates that I work with, their point of differentiation has to be something super professional or something that they've done at work. And for some candidates, that's appropriate. But I think for you, it was a mix of your diverse background, but also capitalizing on your personality, frankly. Going and networking, getting to know these schools, and you interviewed really well. So you really went out there and networked pretty hard so that they could put a face to the name and get to know you because you're so impressive and you're so friendly. Which makes a lot of sense for you, right? That wouldn't be the winning strategy for everybody. So not everybody has personality that you do, but you have it, and so it's good that you banked on it. I think that was a really good idea, and it speaks to kind of cashing in who it is that you are and the strengths that you genuinely bring to the table. So I think that's really great. So you're a couple months now into business school, right? Not even a month and a half, maybe. How's it going, and what's been most surprising to you so far?
It's going great. They weren't joking when they said core is like drinking out of a fire hose. That is a fact. I was not expecting it to be that bad, especially coming from a accounting background. It's been quite hectic.
Yeah.
It's been great though, like putting yourself out there and really trying to get to know your peers and trying to get to know your second years and the staff. And the fact that Kelley is such a small program is important to me because it's so personal. Like I have 3 different coaches. I have a personal coach, I have an academic coach, and I have like a GCS coach, which is essentially your career coach, right?
Wow.
And all 3 of them know me on a personal level
Awesome.
and know what I want out of Kelley and what I want in my personal and professional life and what to do, and they help me develop every step of the way to get there in the next 2 years. Yeah. So it's super cool. I would say that I think what's changed from my application was that I think I was heavily focused on, I was like very high level thinking consulting because of what I wanted from it. But now that I can narrow down and really be like, okay, tell me about yourself, I realized, okay, human capital consulting is actually something that I'm super interested in.
Okay.
And something that I'm really intrigued by. And it's like just stems back to, right? Like I want to help you get to your next step and your next goal and how can we help you get there together? So that I think was the biggest surprise for me, like really having that revelation, sitting down in my personal leadership coach's office and being like, I don't know what I want to do in consulting. And she being like, well, what does your tell me about yourself say?
Right.
So it's really interesting. The introspection doesn't stop. I'd say that the introspection happens during the process. Then once you get into school, you continuously learn more about yourself and what you really want.
Yeah, and I think what you'll find too is the value of your summer internship. Some people have a complete change of heart after going through that, right? Some people it's affirmation. It's like, okay, this is exactly what I thought it would be. And for others, it's like, oh, this sucks. I don't want to do this.
I'm hoping for the first part.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's always the goal. Cool. So how do you get into Kelley? Like what kind of advice would you have for future candidates to Kelley?
So I would say for people who want to go to Kelley, first of all, really think about what makes you want to apply to Kelley, right? Like, why are you applying there? Are you applying based on rankings? Are you applying based on, personal stories you've heard? I would say really try to get to know the school itself. Like, try to go to these MBA fairs and speak to the directors that are there, speak to the staff that are there, because they're absolutely incredible. That was one of the reasons why I even decided to apply to Kelley, right? So speaking to the first years, the second years, and really understanding their candid advice on things. Like Kelley was one of the schools that I actually got real candid feedback about the school from, and I loved it, right?
Right.
And for me, the differentiating factor was who do I feel like I'm in Indiana? Can I live in Indiana for 2 years? Yes, because I love the people here, right? So make sure that like when you're applying to these schools, get to know the school. That's like the biggest important thing, because all the schools have essentially the same curriculum. You're going to go through core. You're going to have these classes you want to take. You have strategy classes. You have finance, all these things. Like, get to know the school, get to know the first years, get to know the second years. Promise you they're going to connect you to somebody else. That person's going to connect you to somebody else, and you're going to know 10 other people there. And really just try to know your story, right? Like, just try to understand your story and how that fits into Kelley, what you're going to give back to Kelley and what Kelley can give to you in the next 2 years. I would say those are the most important things.
Yeah, awesome. So any other advice that you might have for MBA candidates in general to Kelley or other schools? I mean, I think we've covered a lot, but just want to make sure that I'm getting everything in your head.
Don't be afraid to just put yourself out there, right? Don't be afraid to get to know people. Like I was really happy I reached out to a lot of people when I did, because I got to school knowing a ton of second years and a ton of people who have been putting themselves out there to help me because I put myself out there to get to know them throughout this process and throughout the summer. So don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. It's totally fine. Like, we're more than willing to help. We've all been through this process. I've already talked to like 3 different people about this. So it's
nice.
We're more than willing. Trust me. If you think you're bothering a first or a second year, you're not. We are happy to. You're not bothering the staff. Like, really put yourself out there, and don't just try to go. I'd say don't just try to go where the stream is going, right? Like, they say that all the time. Don't pick what's sexy, or like, don't just look at like what the best school is right now, or pick the best school for you and what you want to do. Because what the best school is for my friend might not be the best school for me. So really figure out what you want for yourself in the next 2 years, and where, like, what school is going to help you get there.
Love it. Couldn't agree more. So final question, which is one that I'm really excited about.
Okay.
And that is, so you're 3 years post-college, you're just starting now your Kelley career as a student. So based on your perspective right now, what would you say are the 3 most intangible qualities that any successful business person has to possess?
Okay. I would say the most important is you have to be able to relate to people. You have to be personable, right? Nobody's the airport test. We were just talking about that, right? Can you sit in an airport with I don't care if you're in marketing, you're in finance, can someone sit with you at an airport for 5 hours and talk to you? If they can't, then that's like one thing. Like, you can't teach people skills. You can teach technical skills, but you can't teach somebody how to be human. Right? That's a big thing. To be human. That's like a big thing in business, right?
I think that makes a lot of sense.
The second thing I would say is, let's see, be curious. I would say be curious, because ask questions. You're never going to know something if you don't ask questions. I know so many people who don't know don't know something about a company, or don't know something about a person, or something that's going to help them get to the next step in their career, because they're not asking those questions. They're either not curious enough to ask those questions, or they're too afraid. So be curious and don't be afraid. That's like the second most important thing, I think.
Love it.
The third one is reach for like the stars. Like, reach, like, whatever you think your potential is, reach further than that, because you're more likely to get to the top that way, right? Like, if you think that you can do mediocre, no. Get to the top, and I can reach further than the top, and then you'll be good. Because if you don't believe in yourself, then nobody else is going to believe in yourself. No one's going to toot your horn for you. You have to toot your own horn, right? In like a most humble way, but really understand your potential, and understand that you have a lot of potential and you have a lot to give to these businesses. Why they recruit for MBAs, right? They want people who are curious, who are smart, who are ambitious, who want to get things done. So believe in yourself.
Love it. Anna, thank you so much. This was super interesting. I always love talking to you. Glad we're able to connect.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I can be here. Thanks for having me.
And keep in touch. If there's anything I can do to help support you as you transition into consulting, I'm happy to help however I can.
You're amazing. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye-bye.